about this concert. It's a long title, Life Stages, Songs and Stories, or Stories and Songs for Those Who Care for the Elderly. And really, it was very hard to come up with a good title because I was planning on doing music that I play for patients of all ages at Stanford Hospital, music that I play in assisted living and memory care units, which of course are going to be the older folks in our population, and some with issues and some without. And then also, I wrote a lot of songs when my parents were starting to experience issues related to some decline, either physically or cognitively. And so you're going to hear some of those as well. So before we get started, why Life Stages? Well, thanks to my husband, when I was going to do my last CD, which was in 2018, I had a bunch of songs, and it was like, okay, there's songs about my parents, and then there's also my reunion song, high school reunion song, and a song called When You Turn 30. So I thought, how do I tie all that together to make a concept CD? And he suggested Life Stages. And of course, that brings to mind the Bard, all the world is a stage and we are but the players. And not only stage, but also the stages of life. And so that was what got me thinking, and well, I ended up writing the title track of my CD, which is the first song in my concert. And we can't wait to be full grown. We try to prove our worth and be the best the world has known. And in a while the little child within us starts to fade. We step out in the spotlight onto another stage. Life has many stages. We travel through each one as time keeps turning pages until the story's done. Each year and every age is just as precious as the last, and it goes by fast. We take a bow and bask in all the glory of the show. We're riding high at last and feeling strong in this new role. But once again the seasons spin into another year. We leave behind the upward climb, retirement is here. Life has many stages, we travel through each one, while time keeps turning pages until the story's done. Each year and every age is just as precious as the last, and it goes by fast. The body will betray us, but we'll do the best we can to honor all life's stages, accepting where we stand. And in a while recall the child that never left the heart, who in a way has always played the most important part. Life has many stages, we travel through each one, but time keeps turning pages just as precious as the last, and it goes by fast. And it goes by fast. Thank you. Even if you didn't unmute, I see the hands going like this, and that's awesome. Different than a YouTube or live stream Facebook where you don't see anybody. So this is a interesting experience. I can see all of you. If you see me looking down, I'm looking at your faces down here. So now I need to change my lever settings here, and I'm going to tell you about the next song. If you printed out my program, you have a list of what I'm going to do. If I have time at the end, I have a couple extras that I could throw in. But this next one was inspired by my cousin Robin, who is a graphic artist. And what she did was she put her mother and then herself and mushed them together. And I asked her to do one for me. And so I did, and she did. And this is my mother. And then this is me and my mother. And then there we are. Ah! I look just like my mother. So it was kind of eye-opening. It's like, oh, wow, I didn't realize I looked so much like my mom. But I think all of us, as we get older, we look in the mirror and we go, wait, was that my mom? Or you just happen to catch a reflection in a store window. Men too, you guys are probably going, wait, when did my dad get here? And anyway, this is what inspired this next song. I used to think I must have been adopted. I was such an odd kid, never fitting in. Now I see how much there is of mother and how much of father I carry deep within. Don't get me wrong, I'm still an individual, still have some residual unique qualities. But more and more I see them there, eyes, nose, smile, hair, what I say and what I wear. My parents are apparent in me. I tried to show the world how I'm a special girl, but now I've been feeling sad, wondering how much is my decision. Am I some revision of my mom and dad? And don't get me wrong, I'm still an individual, still have some residual unique qualities. But more and more I see them there, eyes, nose, smile, hair, what I say and what I wear. My parents are apparent in me. And now I only hope that what's inherent coming from each parent through their DNA is a mix of all that I've respected and that I've reflected, their goodness and their grace. Don't get me wrong, I'm still an individual, still have some residual unique qualities. But more and more I see them there, eyes, nose, smile, hair, what I say and what I wear. How I love, how I care. My parents are apparent in me. My parents are apparent in me. Apparent in me. Thank you. So in keeping with this theme of life stages, you know, the Shakespeare soliloquy covers, like, I think 7 stages of life, but there's also a Celtic kind of 3 stages. That's the Maiden stage, the Mother, and the Crone. And so I decided I would do an O'Carolan set. O'Carolan was a harper in the 1700s who composed a lot of pieces for his patrons. And so there are 3 pieces that he wrote for women. One is for Eleanor Plunkett, who was the sole family survivor. It was a sad story. The castle was burned down with everyone in it except for her. And so she lived to a ripe old age, but with a lot of sadness. So you can hear in this slow air it's in 3/4, but it's an air, and it's got a lot of kind of sadness thrown in. And then she's going to be the Crone. And then my mother one is going to be Lady Gethin, and she is purported to be Margaret Gethin, who is wife of Sir Richard Gethin. And there's a note saying she was a dignified and steady matron. So I thought she'd be a good one for my mother position archetype. And then for the maiden archetype, Fanny Power. Fanny Power was the daughter of David Power, and there's actually some lyrics that were written for it, and the translation, because it was in Gaelic, the translation is, if part of the lyrics is, "The beautiful spirited maiden, Ireland's true love, the fine spirited lady." So I can kind of picture her on this little jig dancing around in the fields. So I think you'll hear these changes of mood, and I will only play a little bit of each one rather than spending 10 minutes on this medley. Eleanor Plunkett. Thank you. I'm going to tell a little story about my dad now. When he first moved into the assisted living facility, it's called Sunnyview, we were walking down the hall together, and I stopped and realized he wasn't by my side, and I looked back and he was shuffling along, you know, trying to catch up with me. And it made me remember when I was a little girl, and we'd go on hikes, and there's Dad zooming on up ahead, and I'd be chasing after him. And that's what inspired this next song, I Want to Walk With You. I remember redwood trees, hiking trails and scabby knees, trying to keep up with Daddy's lengthy stride. I remember running fast, Daddy turned around at last, watching me as breathlessly I cried, Daddy, slow down. My legs are short, but yours are long. Daddy, slow down, I want to walk with you. I remember years ago, couldn't wait till I would grow tall enough to match my daddy's rapid pace. Now I tower over him, speed along with lengthy limb. Daddy calls out to me, where's the race? Daughter, slow down. My legs are weak, but yours are strong. Daughter, slow down, I want to walk with you. Thank you. I've done that song also in the assisted living facilities when I do concerts, and I always have people come up and say how much they appreciate it. At first I was thinking, oh, I can't sing this to people who are in the same situation my dad was in, but no, they appreciate it and understand that yes, the roles do shift like that, and we kind of trade places, and also that I think it's comforting to them to know that some of us also are acknowledging these kinds of differences and are able to adapt and consider where they're at and the difficulty of trying to keep up with a walker. So Anyway, more things about playing in the assisted living and memory care units. I've been playing at about 4 or 5 different places on a regular monthly basis, and I have a handful of songs that are familiar. I do a few of my originals, but mostly I do familiar songs and ask them all to sing along. And of course, you guys are all welcome to sing along. Stay on mute, but sing along on any of the songs that you know. Now, some of the songs that I do for them are like Que Sera Sera, Edelweiss, Over the Rainbow, You Are My Sunshine, that's a really big hit, and even some Elvis. And of course, also, this next song, Route 66. I'll ask, how many have ever driven all the way on Route 66? And there might be 1 or 2 hands that go up. And then how many have driven on part of Route 66? And yes, lots of hands go up for that. And it always brings smiles. And this is my blues harp song. Oh, and in fact, I taught a workshop on playing, it was an introduction to the folk harp. And in my bio, it said that I write songs and I accompany my singing on folk harp and have a jazzy bluesy style. So one guy thought I was talking about a blues harp, which is a harmonica. And he wanted to come to the class, and he said, well, I don't have one, but I'll pick one up at the store. And I said, well, they're kind of expensive. And we finally figured out what we were talking about, not this kind of harp, this kind of harp. So he did not come to my workshop. But here is Route 66. Thank you. A fun song. Let's see. Got to do lots of lever flips here. Those. Okay. We don't want this next one to have blues tuning. Another brief story about my dad. He lived in the assisted living, independent living, and was happy there for a few years, and then started showing more and more signs of dementia. And when he finally was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, they moved him into the memory care unit. And he didn't like that so much right at first because they locked the doors and he couldn't get out to his car. And he kept trying to buy another car when we gave his car to the grandkids. And he had a little time adjusting, but he stayed very sweet all the way through. And Lynette and I were very fortunate that he always knew who we were. And so we were there a lot for him, Lynette especially. But when he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, we had no idea whether, how long he'd be with us and how long he'd know who we were. And so I wrote this song sort of as a song from his children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So this is As Much as Before. Like to spend some time with you, doing things you'd like to do, reminisce about when we were children, go to movies or the zoo, watch a sunrise fade to blue, share our dreams and how we hope to build them. And all you need to do is to be who you are, the one that we all cherish and adore. And should it be that you can't think of who we are, we'll love you just as much as before. Know how hard it is for you, giving up what you once knew, watching as the physical betrays you. Muscles are retiring, neurons are misfiring, but underneath it all, your spirit stays true. And all you need to do is to be who you are, the one that we all cherish and adore. And should it be that you can't think of who we are, we'll love you just as much as before. So much to give, so much more life to live, and we'll be there to share it all with you. The future is unknown, but you'll never be alone. And when you wonder what you ought to do, well, all you need to do is to be who switch to my guitar for a few songs. And so just for fun, I'm going to share the screen, and this is actually a picture of my sister and me. Lynette doesn't know I'm sharing this. This was in my Janice Ian hairstyle days. long time ago. And that is a guitar I no longer own. Let's get the guitar strapped on and stop the share. So again, playing in assisted living places, but also playing for patients in the hospital. Everybody knows the Beatles songs. And as we're aging, I mean, I'm getting into that. People actually would accept me in the assisted living places. Age-wise, we're kind of moving into that that decade, and so the songs that we choose to play, instead of only being Bicycle Built for Two, which you might have done 20 years ago for seniors, well, they like the Beatles too. So in fact, Mom's favorite song was When I'm 64. And actually, I can no longer sing that, not honestly. Unless I change the words, I might change it to When I'm 74, and then another decade when I'm 84. But this song, though, that I'm going to do next, which is, of course, on your program, so you know what I'm doing, it took a special meaning when I was asked to play this for a memorial. And it was a guitar student who succumbed to cancer. And I taught him this song, and his family heard him practicing it over and over and over again. And believe it or not, they wanted it at the memorial. And so when I played it, I started noticing, I mean, I didn't even think about it until I was at the memorial and playing and singing the song, how the words really took on a kind of a special meaning for a memorial. So here is Blackbird. Singing in the dead of night, take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise. Blackbird singing in the dead of night, take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly, into the light of the dark black night. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly, into the light of the dark black night. Blackbird singing in the dead of night, take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. Thank you. So another dad story. of the earlier signs of dementia were long before he was diagnosed, and he succumbed to the mail fraud that I know a lot of people, a lot of elders are targeted. And I'm actually going to show you some slides on this one as well. So let's see, here it is. So this was his daily mail. Every day he got this kind of mail, and all of them were pleas for money, every single one of them. And he kept going into his study and to deal with his mail, and finally I started going over and helping him, and I would help by just opening things and saying, you don't need this, right? You don't need this, right? But no. You know, this generation, here's another slide. Bless their hearts, they were brought up to always respond to every single piece of mail, every phone call you have to answer and be polite on the phone. And they taught us that too, but you know, there was a point where it was unreasonable to do that. And there are organizations and even out and out scammers who take advantage of the elderly and take advantage of this really lovely trait of being responsible and responsive. And they send multiple requests for money in the guise of needing his input. And he got multiple letters from over 23 different groups. Some of them have very similar names, so you couldn't tell that they were different groups. And one month, actually I counted them up, I listed them as they came in, and there were 339 pieces of mail in 1 month. And he felt he had to respond to them all. They would offer free stuff like calendars, stamps, quarters, nickels, and he had to open every envelope to get his gift. And then he felt, of course, you know, they sent him these things and they asked for his opinion. He needs to respond and he needs to give a donation. And on their limited income, with mom's additional health expenses, he was just really just kind of burning through money that they were borrowing against their home at the time. Anyway, I do see this here. Let me show another one here. There's envelopes that say, this is one of his letters, time sensitive, you better hurry up and send this in. There's a 2020 calendar. I think we had about 5 or 6 of those. And there are many articles online, so if you're interested in learning more about this, look up things like a new scam to bilk the elderly. There's an article online for that. Seniors bombarded with direct mail often write many checks, and fright mail targets seniors, and many other. I went through and found all the articles so I could try and prepare myself and think about, you know, what can we do about this? And it was very delicate because it was his money and it was his, you know, it was important to him to be, you know, to support his causes. So we were able to reduce it eventually. And as he had, you know, when he had me take over all his finances, we just chose 2 charities to send money to, and that helped quite a bit. So that's this next song, Bleeding Heart. You are so dear, your concern is genuine, and you're sincere, and I understand why. You want to do your part to make a difference, but one day your bleeding heart will bleed you dry. They've got your name and they know how to get to you. You're not to blame, it says only for your eyes. This is time sensitive, so make your donation now. One day, your bleeding heart will bleed you dry. bleeding heart will bleed you dry. They rely upon your aging memory as they remind you of your recent pledge. You're their selected one, along with any who will reply. One day, your beating heart will bleed you dry. One day, your bleeding heart will bleed you dry. They thank you with another new calendar, and for your gift of a specified size. You could do so much more to help them do more and more. But one day, your bleeding heart will bleed you dry. One day, your bleeding heart will bleed you dry. Thank you. Well, I'm going to go on to something that's not quite so sad. Here's another one of the songs that I do quite a bit, actually both on harp and guitar at the assisted living places as well as in the hospital. And I just recently heard the opening verse again. I've heard it in the past, but I'd never heard it before. I mean, I hadn't heard it in a long time, I should put it that way. And someone posted a Janice Ian video on Facebook, and I went down, you know, I watched that one and I watched another and another, and I found this one, and she's singing the Over the Rainbow verse. Oh yeah, there's that beautiful verse. So I'm gonna sing that. I'll probably stare at my music, so because I don't know it that well. And you are welcome to again join in and sing with me on the actual melody that you all know when we get to that part. When all the world is a hopeless jumble and the raindrops tumble all around, heaven opens a magic lane. When all the clouds darken up the skyway, there's a rainbow highway to be found, leading from your window pane to a place behind the sun, just a step beyond the rain. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I've heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me. where troubles melt like lemon drops, way above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh why can't I? If tiny little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh why can't I? Thank you. And I'm going to change to my harp that I play at the hospital. So here is another slide for while I reorganize here. So this is a couple shots from Stanford Hospital, and notice there's a violin and a mandolin in one of them, and this was a couple. The patient was learning fiddle, and her significant other was learning mandolin, and so we had a lot of really fun jam sessions during her recovery, and I just disguised their faces or cut off the picture just so that you're not looking at their faces. But I wanted to show you that sometimes we get that kind of experience too at Stanford, where you have a patient who is also a musician. So this is my double-strung. I don't know if you can see or tell. It's got 2 rows of strings, and they're tuned the same pretty much, and I can actually set my levers differently so that I can get some cool jazzy accidentals. But it's a small harp, and so it's real easy for doctors to get around me in the room when they come in with their team of doctors, because it is a teaching hospital. I always say, do you need me to leave? And 99% of the time they say, no, keep playing, this is doing the patient good. So whereas with a bigger harp, then it's like, can you just step out for a little bit and then come back in. So this is small. It doesn't maybe look as small. It's actually up on a stand, and I actually play it down on wheels with a lower chair in the hospital, but it's very small this way, so I fit nicely into the rooms. And anyway, this next song is one that people will always join in, even if I'm just playing this instrumentally in the hallway. When I get to this last verse, the last phrase in the verse, they always, they always join in on that. And so I'm going to do a little intro, but we're going to sing the whole song, so feel free to join in. And then I'll play it also instrumentally, a bit of it on the harp too, so you can just hear the lovely sound of the double-strung. So here's the intro. I see trees of green, red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright bright, blessed day, in a dark, sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Thank you. So we're pushing up against the clock here, and I do have like a couple more songs I'd like to do. And I realized too, I used my progressive glasses with the double-strung harp because of the strings being apart. And I noticed that while I was playing, I could not see my two rows. I could see one blur of rows of strings. So I will go ahead and do a little bit of this instrumental number. I like to play this next tune, The Wild Geese, for patients, but I don't tell them the real story. The real story is it's about the men who went off to fight, and that's not a pleasant thought. So instead I say, you can picture the geese flying. You can picture one going up and then a couple more joining, and then they start calling out to each other. They fly in and out of formation, and then they fly away. And it often is something that just simply helps to alleviate pain, helps them to not have their mind anyway on the pain, and gives them just a little bit of a respite. So I will follow that with a brief version of Hewlett, which will help to wake you back up again, because I do not want to lose you for the rest of the concert. So here's The Wild Geese. Thank you. All right, I'm going to do, I guess I will go ahead and do both songs. I know, let's see, my glasses don't tell me the time. Okay. I was playing a lot for patients who have somebody come in on a regular basis. For instance, I would show up and the same visitor would be there. It would be maybe a parent or a child or a spouse or somebody who is there just consistently to advocate or just simply to be there. And I know it's not really a magic pill, but it makes the experience of being in the hospital so much better when there is somebody who is a primary caregiver always there with the patient. And I wanted to sing a song that would honor them, and I couldn't think of a song that said what I wanted it to say. And so I wrote one. And this is a song that's from the perspective of the patient singing to their caregiver. I never chose to be here, lying in this bed. There are many places I'd like to be instead. They tell me I am brave, but I know it's really you. 'Cause you don't have to be here, but you choose to. I have the easy part. I sleep most of the time. You sit beside me now, watching numbers drop and climb. They tell me I am strong, but I know it's really you. 'Cause you don't have to be here, but you choose to. Just come and hold my hand, listen while I cry. Though I'm not the greatest company, I hope you realize I know the price you're paying by staying by my side. And I hope you know that I know what you do when you don't have to be here, but you choose to. They give me medications to reduce my sense of pain, but you are feeling powerless to make it go away. My friends all wish me well, they should wish the same for you. 'Cause you don't have to be here, but you choose to. Just come and hold my hand, listen while I cry. Though I'm not the greatest company, I hope you realize I know the price you're paying by staying by my side. And I hope you know I'm grateful that you do. You don't have to be here, but you choose to. Now those long sleepless nights are telling on you. Don't forget, as you care for me, take care of yourself too. I know the price you're paying by staying by my side, and I hope you know I love you, and I know you love me too. 'Cause you don't have to be here, but you choose to. No, you don't have to be here, but you choose to. Thank you. And I do have one more song to play, and then I will open it for Q&A. So if you are, if you're not too busy and you want to hang out, I would love to hang around and chat. So this is my wish for you, wishing you well. I love wishing you well. When I see you excel, I can feel my heart swell. I love cheering you on till night turns to dawn and all fear is gone. Sometimes I feel my wishing could heal the heart that is breaking. I like to pretend my wishing could mend the world in its aching. I love wishing you well, wishing you well. I love wishing you well, wishing you well. I love seeing you through, believing in you, that your dreams will come true. I love hoping the best for wild success and know nothing less. Sometimes I feel my wishing could heal the heart that is breaking. I like to pretend my wishing could mend the world in its aching. I love wishing you well, wishing you well. I love wishing you well, wishing you well. And if all my wish can do is bring a smile to you, that smile could ease the hurt in your heart and my heart too. Sometimes I feel my wishing could heal the heart that is breaking. I like to pretend my wishing could mend the world in its aching. I love wishing you well, wishing you